Everyone tells you to follow your passion. Well, I think that's terrible advice. Because passion without proof is why 9 out of 10 founders end up broke and burn out. But what if you could know within 7 days whether your business idea will make money before you spend months building it? You don't need to be a developer. You don't need a massive budget. And you definitely do not need to gamble your savings on a hunch. Because now we're living in a time where AI can do the heavy lifting. And I mean fast. Today I'm going to show you the exact 7-day framework that can take your idea from "I think this could work" to "I know people who will pay for it." Because the difference between success and failure isn't luck, it's validation. And in the next few minutes, you're going to learn exactly how to get it. Hey everyone, I'm Jake Dawson, and I've been in the startup world for the last decade, helping founders turn ideas into profitable businesses. I've seen the good, the bad, and the downright "what were they thinking" when it comes to business validation. And trust me, most people are doing it wrong. Today, I'm going to walk you through a step-by-step framework that will help you validate most AI business ideas in just 7 days. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly whether your idea has potential, who your customers might be, and how to build a simple prototype that people actually respond to. And hey, if you want my templates and a place to get your feedback while you're doing this, my school community is where we share all of that stuff. It's like having a shortcut and a support team in one spot. You can check that out in the description below. All right, before we jump into the details for each day, let me tell you why this framework works better than the old school way of doing validation. Normally, people will tell you to run 10 to 30 customer interviews, spend weeks digging through market reports, and then go build a fancy prototype that takes forever. The problem is, that approach is slow, expensive, and honestly, kind of soul-crushing when you find out months later that nobody wants what you build. With AI tools, we can speed all of that up. What used to take weeks, we can knock down into hours. Market research, AI can scan and summarize trends for you faster than you can open up your second cup of coffee. Competitor analysis, you can get a full breakdown of their strengths, weaknesses, and gaps without reading every single blog post that they've ever written. Prototyping, you don't need to be a developer or have a giant budget. You just need to know how to describe what you want. And then the tools can spin up something basic but functional. Okay, here's the game plan for the week. Day 1 is market research and figuring out the exact problem you're solving. Day 2 is competitive analysis and your SWOT. And by the way, SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Having your SWOT on paper helps you see the big picture so you know exactly where to focus your energy. Now, here's what makes this different. We're not just sitting around asking people what they think. We're putting a real working version, however simple, in front of them and watching how they respond. Actions over opinions. Because let's be honest, people will tell you all day that they love your idea. But the second you ask them to actually sign up, click a button, or spend $1, that's when you find out if it's real or just polite conversation. And this approach cuts through the noise so you're not just stuck guessing. Day 1, here we go. Market research. But we're not doing it the old, slow, fashioned way. We're going to use AI to get a clear picture of your market and your competition without spending weeks buried in spreadsheets. Start with a SWOT analysis. But here's where we crank it up a notch. Open up Genspark or Claude and type in something like, "Analyze your industry, the market for this specific problem. Identify the top 5 pain points that customers face, current solutions, and potential gaps." The AI will put together insights that would normally take you hours to find. And once you've got that, you're not done yet. We're going to check if people are actually searching for solutions like yours. Head to Google Trends, type in your problem or your solution, and see if interest is going up, going down, or flatlining. If it's flat and no one's searching, that's a warning sign. If it's trending up, you might be onto something. Next, go to where your potential customers are hanging out online. Now that could be Reddit, LinkedIn groups, or specific industry forums. Search for posts where people are complaining about the problem you want to solve or asking for recommendations. This is where you get the real unfiltered feedback, not the, "Oh yeah, I'd use that." You know, this polite stuff people say. If you're seeing frustration or repeated questions or people saying that they wish something existed, you're hitting a real need. The whole point of day one is to confirm that there's actually a demand before you build anything. Because I've seen way too many people spend months on something that they're excited about, only to find out later that they build the world's best solution to a problem no one actually cares about. Trust me, you want to find that out now, not after your bank account's empty. Okay, day two is all about competitive intelligence. And this is where a lot of founders mess up. They either pretend that their competition doesn't exist, which is basically running blind, or they see competition and instantly think, well, I guess I'm out, and they quit before they even start. You don't need to do either of those. What you need is a clear picture of who you're up against, what they're doing well, and where they're dropping the ball. So start by listing your top 5 direct competitors. Those are the businesses selling almost exactly what you want to sell. Then list your indirect competitors. Those are the ones solving the same problem, but in a different way. So once you've got your list, we're going to make AI do the heavy lifting again. Open Genspark and type in something like, act as a market research analyst. Compare these 5 competitors in the industry, the space that you're in, then list the companies and say, analyze their strengths, weaknesses, pricing strategies, and identify potential gaps in their offerings. When you get the results, pay attention to a few things. First, what are they consistently doing right? If all of them have fast onboarding or killer customer support, that's a standard that you'll need to match or beat. Second, what are the customers complaining about in the reviews? This is pure gold because those complaints are the exact problems that you can position your product to fix. And third, look at pricing patterns. If everyone's in the same range but still getting slammed in reviews and poor value, that might be your opening to offer something better for the same price. Don't just skim the AI summary. Pull up a couple of competitor websites and check their messaging. See what they're highlighting, what features they push the hardest, and where they're vague. Sometimes the real opportunity is in what they're not saying. If every competitor talks about features but nobody talks about results, that's your chance to own that conversation. The point here isn't to copy anyone. It's to understand the landscape so you can position yourself to stand out. Competition is actually a good sign. It means there's already a market and people are paying for solutions. No competition usually means no demand or that problem's not worth solving. And trust me, you want to figure that out now instead of 6 months into building. All right, let's move on to day number 3. This is where you lock in your value proposition. And this is the piece that makes or breaks how people see your idea. A lot of founders make the mistake of focusing on features like we have AI, we have dashboards, we have automation. But your customers don't actually care about any of that until they know what it's going to do for them. What they care about is the transformation, where they are now, what's frustrating them, and where do they want to be instead. Your job is to show them how that you can bridge that gap better than anyone else. Think of it like this. If your customer is spending 3 hours a day manually updating their spreadsheet, their current state is annoyed, stressed, and wasting time. And their desired future state is getting that work done automatically so that they can actually focus on the things that grow their business. Your value proposition is the clear one-sentence promise that connects those 2 points. Here's the formula you can use. For a target customer who faces this problem, our solution provides key benefit unlike the main competitors because of this unique differentiator. So if I were doing this for an AI automation service, I might say, for small business owners who are buried in repetitive admin work, our AI-powered automation setup saves 10+ hours a week, unlike generic software tools, because we build it custom to your exact workflow. Once you have this nailed down, everything gets easier. Your website copy, your pitch, even your cold emails. Suddenly, they all have a clear direction. And here's a pro tip. Don't just write it once and think that you're done. Test it. Say it to people in your target audience and watch their reaction. If they lean in and say, hey, tell me more, you're on the right track. If they just nod politely and change the subject, you need to tweak it. The value proposition isn't about sounding clever. It's about making your customer instantly think, this is for me. And when you get that right, the rest of the process we're walking through this week works a whole lot better. Day number 4 is where we finally roll up our sleeves and build the AI-powered prototype. This is where the modern AI tools really shine. You don't have to be a developer anymore to get something working. You just need to be clear on what you want it to do. But I want to be real with you here. Be realistic about what you can accomplish in this step. Those ads promising build a fully functional e-commerce site in 5 minutes are technically telling the truth, but what they mean is that you'll get a basic bare bones version that will still need some love before it's ready for prime time. And that's okay. Your goal right now isn't perfection. It's to make something that clearly shows your core value proposition in action. So here are a few tools that can help. Genspark is great if you're working on something that needs research, content creation, or simple prototyping. You can use it to quickly whip up a landing page, draft some marketing copy, and even test different messaging ideas. The best part? It's currently free with daily credits, so you can try a lot without spending a dime. If you want to create a simple web app or a business tool, Base 44 is a solid choice. You literally describe your idea and it generates a working prototype that you can tweak. It starts at about $20 a month, which is a bargain if it saves you weeks of trial and error. Then there's Lovable, which is also $20 a month for the pro plan. This one's pretty fun because you can just chat with the AI about what you want and it builds both the front end and the back end for you. It's a great way to get something interactive up and running fast. Now, when you're picking your tool, think about what will show off the aha moment for your customers the fastest. If your solution is all about saving time, make the prototype actually show how that happens. If it's about getting better results, build something that proves it right away. The key here is to resist the temptation to build every feature that you dreamed of. Keep it simple, get it working, and save the fancy stuff for later. You're just trying to answer one question now. Will people actually want this? Now, speaking of building and deploying prototypes quickly, this video is sponsored by Hostinger. And here's the problem most founders run into. You've got a working AI automation idea, but you hit a wall. Do you pick a pricey cloud service that drains your budget or waste days wrestling with servers when all you want to do is test your idea? Neither option is fun. And honestly, it's why a lot of founders waste weeks stuck in setup mode instead of figuring out if their idea can actually make money. But what if I told you there's a way to skip all of that pain? A way to launch professional-grade AI automation infrastructure in minutes, not days, and for way less than you'd pay anywhere else. Here's why Hostinger's VPS with N8N is such a game changer for this exact validation project we're building. First, the price to performance ratio is unbeatable. Let's keep it real. N8N Cloud starts at over $20 a month for just the basics, and it still puts limits on you. With Hostinger's, you're getting full server control and unlimited automation workflows for less. Second, you get total security and freedom. When you self-host N8N with Hostinger, all your data stays locked down on your own server. No third parties, no worrying about who's looking over your shoulder. And here's the kicker. You can customize everything. Build your own nodes, create workflows that fit exactly what your business needs, and you're not boxed in by platform rules or missing features. If you've ever had a great idea and hit that annoying, sorry, this platform doesn't allow for that wall, you know how valuable that freedom is. And third, and this is where Hostinger really pulls ahead. Deployment is literally one click easy. And I'm not kidding. They've got a pre-installed N8N template that gets you up and running in minutes. No coding, no command line nightmares, no Googling error messages at 2 a.m. Just click, deploy, and you're already building your prototype. And if you do get stuck, Hostinger even has their own AI assistant, Cody, to help you out. Think of it like that one friend who always knows how to fix the Wi-Fi, but available 24/7. So, if you're serious about validating your AI business idea on professional-grade infrastructure without wasting time or draining your bank account, here's what you do. Head over to hostinger.com/Jake Dawson. You'll see the VPS hosting options laid out right there. For our AI validation project, I'm going with the KVM2 plan. It gives us 2 CPU cores, 8 gigs of RAM, and 100 gigs of NVMe SSD storage, which is perfect for running multiple N8N workflows while we're testing with 50 to 100 users, for example. Click on Add to Cart, and here's the fun part. In the coupon field, I'm entering Jake Dawson, and boom, 10% discount applied instantly, and you can see the price drop right there on the screen. After completing the purchase, Hostinger guides you through onboarding. It asks you to pick a server location, so you'll select the one closest to your target audience for best speeds. From there, Hostinger handles all the technical heavy lifting. Within about 2 to 3 minutes, the VPS is fully provisioned, and you've got your access credentials ready to go. Now, here's where it gets really good. Hostinger offers a pre-configured Ubuntu with N8N template. You just select it during the setup, and N8N is automatically installed in a Docker environment. So once that's done, you can head over to your browser, type in n8n.your VPS name, and you're instantly greeted with the N8N interface. The first time you log in, you just need to create an admin account. And just like that, within minutes, you'll get a clean N8N interface running on your own VPS. So this is where you can build automations that collect feedback from prototype users, send follow-up surveys, track engagement, and even push data into Google Sheets so you can analyze everything in real time. This is one of the best ways you can validate a business idea fast without burning cash or wasting months on setup. All right, moving on to day 5. This is where we stop guessing and actually find out what people think. This is the step that makes or breaks your idea, and here's your rule. You've got to get your prototype in front of at least 50 to 100 people from your real target market. Not your friends, not your family. They'll just tell you it's great because they don't want to hurt your feelings. And that's the fastest way to waste months building something that nobody wants. The good news is that your customers are already hanging out online. That could be LinkedIn groups in your industry, Reddit threads where people are talking about the problem that you solve, Facebook groups for your niche, industry-specific forums, or even Discord servers. And if you're willing to be bold, you can do some cold outreach, but keep it respectful. A simple message saying, hey, I'm working on something for a specific problem. Could I get your quick feedback? This can open a door. So once you've got your people willing to look, don't just say, so what do you think? That's too vague, and you'll get vague answers. Ask specific, actionable questions. What's your first impression? How much would you expect to pay for this? Or what's the biggest thing this is missing? How do you solve this problem right now, and what does it cost you? These kind of questions tell you exactly where you're hitting the mark and where you're falling short. So here's the goal. You want truth, not compliments. The point isn't to have everyone tell you it's perfect. It's to figure out if people will actually use it and, more importantly, pay for it. So if you hear the same feedback from different people, that's a sign that you need to listen. And yes, sometimes that feedback will sting a little bit, but it's way better to hear it now while you can still make the changes than after you've spent 6 months trying to build this and building all the wrong things. Okay, day 6 is where things start to get real. This is the point where most founders either make the change that turn their idea into a winner, or they throw in the towel. You're going to get feedback that will poke holes into your ideas. Some people will say it's not quite right. Some will say it's too expensive. Others might point out that it's not solving the real problems that they have, and that's fine. You can't take any of this personally. You've got to treat it like data, not a personal attack. The best way to do this is to break the feedback into buckets. First, figure out what features people actually want compared to what you thought they wanted. You might realize you've been focusing on something they don't really care about, while the thing they really need is buried in your maybe later list. Second, look at what parts of your value proposition are confusing. If people can't explain back to you what your product does in one sentence, you've got to tighten it up. Third, listen for the price point that they think makes sense. It's one thing to get people saying this is cool, and it's another thing to get them to actually pull out their credit card. Finally, pay attention to what would make them pick you over their current solution. And this is your real competitive edge. This is also a great place to let AI do some of the heavy lifting. Take all of your feedback, drop it into ChatGPT, and ask it to summarize the most common themes, complaints, and suggestions. It can help spot patterns faster than digging through every single comment yourself. Now, the main thing here is to keep an open mind. Some of their feedback will feel like a gut punch. You might think, but that's my favorite feature. Or, that's not how I imagine people using it. Remember, you're building this for them, not for you. The more you adapt to what the market is telling you, the better your chances are of making something that people will actually pay for and keep using. Now, day 7 is the small scale launch. And this is where you finally see if all of your hard work from the past week is actually going to pay off. Think of it as your reality check before going all in. You're not trying to make everything perfect yet. You're testing the waters with a small group, maybe 50 to 100 people who fit your exact target market. The goal here is simple. See if people care enough to take action. You want to track a few key things here that actually matter. How people sign up or show interest. Are they actually using it or just creating an account and disappearing? Are they willing to pay or even pre-order? Are they sharing it with their friends and colleagues without you asking? And are they coming back to you with follow-up questions or asking for more? Those are the signs that you've actually got something worth pursuing. If you start seeing engagement, people asking how soon they can get it, or even suggesting improvements, that is a green light to keep building. But If you launch and it's just crickets, no signups, no feedback, no interest, that's still a win in a way. You've just learned something very valuable without spending months and thousands of dollars on the wrong thing. This step is also about being honest with yourself. If the feedback says your idea needs more work, don't ignore it. That's the whole point of testing small first. You can pivot, improve, or even move on to a better idea without taking a huge hit. And if the signs are good, then you can start thinking about scaling up, because now you've got proof that people actually want what you're offering. Let me wrap this up by going over some of the biggest validation mistakes that I see over and over again, because if you can avoid these, you'll save yourself a ton of wasted time and money. First, stop asking leading questions like, would you use this? People will say yes just to be nice, even if they have zero intention of ever using it. Instead, ask, how do you solve this problem right now, and what do you spend on it each month? That way you get a real picture of what they're doing and what it's worth to them. Second, make sure you're talking to the right people. Your friends and family will always be supportive, but they're usually not your target market, and they're almost never going to give you the brutally honest feedback that you need. You want people who actually have the problem and are already spending time or money to solve it. Third, don't overbuild in the beginning. You don't need a perfect product to validate your idea. You just need enough to prove that people will pay or use it. If you spend 6 months polishing something without proof that there's demand, you're setting yourself up for a bad day later. Fourth, don't forget the business model. Just because people like your idea doesn't mean it's a business. If you can't find enough people willing to pay enough money to cover costs and actually make a profit, you've got a hobby, not a business. Fifth, understand your competition. Some competition is a good thing. It usually means that there's a market. No competition often means that either the market doesn't exist or the problem's not worth solving. Don't assume that you found a hidden gold mine just because nobody else is doing it. 6, stop expecting instant perfection. This 7-day process gives you directional validation. It's meant to tell you if you're on the right track, not guarantee success. Think of it like a compass, not a crystal ball. You're getting a strong signal that says, keep going or pivot now. And that's more than enough to make smart decisions early. The biggest mindset shift that you can make is to approach this like a scientist running experiments, not an artist defending their masterpiece. You're not here to prove your original idea was flawless. You're here to discover what your customers actually need and will pay for. If you can keep that mindset, you'll build something people truly want, and you'll get there a whole lot faster. Now, here's your challenge. If you've got a business idea, don't just let it sit in your head or on a sticky note somewhere. Commit to running it through this 7-day validation process. And don't wait until someday. Start this week. The whole point is to stop guessing and find out fast if it's worth your time, money, and energy. Hey, drop a comment below with your idea in 1 sentence. Just describe the problem that you want to solve. I'll personally reply to the first 20 comments with specific suggestions on how to validate it using this exact framework that we've been walking through. And if you want extra feedback, my school community is where I share templates, walkthroughs, and give hands-on help while you're actually building this stuff. So check that out in the description below. And if you want more straight to the point, real world stuff like this about building businesses with AI tools, make sure you hit that subscribe button and like the video. Hey, I've got a full series coming out on AI-powered entrepreneurship, not just validation, but how to actually take a validated idea and scale it into something that actually makes money. Your next opportunity is out there. But here's the thing. Ideas don't fail because they're bad. They fail because they're never validated properly. Don't build in a bubble. The tools are here. The framework works. Now it's on you to put it to work. Thanks for watching. Oh, and by the way, here's another video you'll probably want to watch next. It's packed with even more tips to help you crush it with automation. I'll see you there. Go ahead.